All right. All right, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Prodigy's Simply Fit podcast. Today, I am joined by the one and only Tony Vest. Tony has been a member of ours at Prodigy for, I think, almost 3 years now. Who joined us actually through like a 6-week challenge and absolutely crushed it and has continued to crush it every single day. Tony is probably our biggest transformation that we've had in terms of like overall weight loss and strength gain and things like that. And I wanted to bring Tony on to kind of just talk about his journey. He's a busy professional, runs a sales division for a really a pretty high up, kind of construction company, let's call it that. And so he's able to fit fitness in. He's actually about 3 months, as of recording this podcast, about 3 months post knee replacement. So with all of that going on right now, Tony still makes it into the gym, 3 nights a week, joins us virtually a couple of nights a week, and still continues to crush it. So I wanted to bring Tony on. Busy professional, has made fitness a priority in his life. And I wanted him to just kind of share his story a little bit. So Tony, I appreciate you joining me today. I want to kind of just start off with maybe talk a little bit about your journey, kind of like where you were, let's say, 3 years prior to this, kind of where you were at, and more importantly, like what was that initial push that said, hey, you know what, I'm done kind of being where I'm at, and I want to make a change.
So I'm actually going to go back a little bit further. So when I was in my early 20s, even in high school, I was athletic. I played sports. I did marching band when I was a senior in high school. After I got out of high school, during college, I played a lot of volleyball. And I was playing volleyball down in Southern California on the beaches of Newport when I had my meniscus in my knee fold over. And it was such a problem that they basically at the age of 21, they took out half of the cartilage out of my knee. So that really slowed down my fitness and my activity. But I was still very active all the way through to early 30s. And I was living in Reno, Nevada, and I was racing my Sea-Doos out in Nevada, out on the lakes out there, and tore up my knee again. Had my second surgery when I was 32, and that was really the beginning of my descent into not taking care of myself and any type of fitness. I ended up getting married in my mid-30s, started a family, and just put my fitness and a lot of my health on the back burner because at the age of 1 and 6 months, my youngest, who's now 17, was diagnosed with autism. So after he was diagnosed, my wife had to stop working, so we became a single income family. And so, there was a lot of pressure, a lot of responsibility on my shoulders. So I just made my work life the priority, my work and my family, and put myself as secondary, which is not the right thing to do. Right. But I think a lot of us do that just out of sheer responsibilities. We have different, we put different priorities in place because of what we think is the right thing to do or the right responsibility. And income was number one for me. So I found a lot of success and did pretty well, and I'm still doing very well, knock on wood. But in my early 50s, I started to really feel the pain of not taking care of my body, including that knee that was pretty banged up for such a long time. So I was 50. So I'm 54 now. So I'll be 55 this year. So I was 52 when I joined your gym. Yeah. And it was by pure chance, but I had for the last, I'd say the year to year and a half before joining Prodigy, I had kept threatening to get back into fitness. And, I would tell my wife all the time, oh, you should have seen me when I was working out, honey. When I was a young man, I was buff and I looked good and, all that stuff and all those things that we tell ourselves, what I used to be. And then I was thinking, I saw all these transformations and all these people that were close to my age that, you see them all the time on Instagram and YouTube and all this stuff. And so, that's when the thought process came into my head that, I could be one of those people. I'm a very driven individual. When I
For
when
sure.
I set a goal, I go for it 100%, and I usually attain that goal. So Anna, who was working at Bay Home at the time, told me about your challenge, your fitness
Yeah.
challenge, and she came walking in one day and said, "Hey, you should join this challenge that they have at my gym. If you win, you get blank amount of dollars." And then she threw out, "Well, you probably don't want to do it because I'm going to be part of that challenge, and there's no way you can win if I'm competing." And I looked at her and just laughed my butt off. I couldn't believe she had said that to me. So it was on as soon as that
Yeah.
happened. So the motivation, just getting to a certain age, and really with my son and his severe autism, Trevor, my youngest, will be with us until we're gone. He's never going to be able to live independently, so he's going to need us to live for a very long time.
Yeah.
And so that was a big motivation. But when you'll find out when you hit 50, man, your body starts to turn on you, and you start getting these aches and pains and things that is like, wow, the eyesight starts going, and everything else.
Yeah.
But that was the motivation, and then starting that challenge, that was tough. That was so tough because it had been 20 years since I stepped into a gym.
Yeah.
The first day of Prodigy, which was actually February 1st of 2019.
Yeah.
That was day one.
Yeah.
But that was a tough week for me. I came home. I worked out 3 days that week, I think. Came home every day, all 3 days, just beat up, and just I couldn't believe how sore I was after those 3 days. But
Yeah.
I chalked it up to age and just my muscles hadn't been worked out in 20 years, and I just I knew in my head that if I just kept going, I had been
Yeah.
making so many excuses for such a long time. Oh, well, I've had 2 knee surgeries. I can't work out. Or, I don't have any time. All I do is work, work, work. I don't have any time, or I'm, spending my time with my son and my family. I just, or I can't afford the gym. That was one of the ones too.
Right.
I can't afford the gym.
Right.
So all those excuses, I just decided to push them all aside and focus to see what I could do. And it was a 90-day challenge. That first one was that 3
Yeah.
months?
Yeah. Something. It was like that. It was like
60
8
days.
weeks or something like that. Yeah. It was something. Yeah.
So I told myself that I would stick to it for the full 8 weeks, and learned a lot about fitness and learned a lot about diet.
Yeah.
But the diet component was the biggest thing that I had to fix.
For
It
sure.
really was,
For sure.
But luckily, I live with an excellent cook.
Yeah.
We actually started up a food business for a
Yeah.
short period of time here at Bay Home and Window.
Yeah. I know. Amanda's has bought lunch from Gresham quite a bit of times. Yeah. Yeah. So
she's an excellent cook, and so that was huge to have somebody prep all of your meals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I had a personal coach,
Yep.
help coach me through and motivate. Then I had Gretchen, make all my meals and prep all my meals. So I felt very, very supported.
Yeah.
Through those first few months. But
Yeah.
once you get a taste of it, that's what it was, man. Once I got that taste of feeling better, of having more energy, the self-esteem that comes back,
Sure. Sure.
Once I had a taste of it, I just wanted more and more and more. And the interesting thing is all those excuses that I was making, just absolutely disappeared. And not only did the BS reasons disappear, but I found a lot of success personally. And again, that comes from feeling better about yourself. You have a certain level of self-confidence that is perceived by the world.
Yeah.
The world sees a different person when you feel
Right.
good about yourself, right? And fortunately or unfortunately, that's a big part of our interactions with other people on this planet, is how you're being perceived.
Absolutely.
So my work life improved. I was promoted. I finally got the car that I've been wanting for a very long time, and
Yeah.
got some material possessions that were a lot of fun. But just the well-being of getting up in the morning and feeling my best on most days,
Yeah.
feeling better than I had in over 20 years.
Yeah.
It is such an amazing feeling when you're 54 to feel like you're 30 again. And
Yeah.
it feels like you have a second, lease on life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Get a chance to keep going.
Yeah.
But for Prodigy specifically, it's the perfect environment for somebody like me. I was a little bit older. I'm in my 50s. I hadn't worked out in 20 years. So I didn't want to go to one of those meathead gyms where, just everybody's just,
Yeah.
we all know what those gyms look like.
Right.
We worked out in those gyms. I worked out in those gyms when I was in my 20s. I was a meathead in my 20s. But that's not the right environment for me at this point.
Yeah.
And the smaller group and the people that go to Prodigy, I'm probably the only meathead that's going to Prodigy at this point. Most people are just average people that are trying to improve their lives and improve their health.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
most definitely.
I've seen so many success stories since I've been there for the last few years. It just, it's a family, and everybody's very supportive, and it's a fantastic environment. And you're a hell of a coach, my friend.
Oh, well, I appreciate that for sure. Yeah. No, I definitely appreciate that. And yeah, absolutely. I think, I was gonna correct you on that. I think you are the only meathead. You bring the meathead. We often have to rein you back in. Like, all right, Tony, come on. You literally have your stitches on your knee still. Like, let's slow down a little bit. And I'm kidding. But no, I wanted to circle back to a point you made about, I think ultimately, right? Like as we're getting older, right? And I'm dealing with this now, right? In my mid 30s, having a young family myself, running a business and all these other things, like we start to think about like potentially what are these other priorities that we have in our life, right? For you, it was being the primary income earner of the family and things like that. And one thing that I often talk to people about as their new prospects, but then I have to remind myself of this all the time, is ultimately, in order for us to be the best income earner in our family, or for me, the best dad or business owner, whatever it may be, like I have to invest in myself. And most importantly, like I have to invest in my health, because if you're not, at the top of your game mentally and physically, like you're not going to perform as well at work, or you're not going to be, you're not going to necessarily be as present as you can be with your family. Right. So like, I wanted to circle back to that point, because I think that's really crucial in the fact of you realizing like, hey, like in order for me to be the best, Tony Vest that I can be, like I have to invest in my health, and I have to take out that hour a day for me. So that way I can be the best dad. I can be the best husband. I can be the best, sales, director of sales and things like that, and I think that for a lot of people, they have to realize that, you have to take out that time for yourself. It's not selfish by any means, but it's very much needed, for you to be, be the best thing for everybody else.
And without a doubt, that's what I said, right? We get these skewed ideas of priorities, right? And for a lot of us, for a big portion of the population, we push our own needs off to the side because we're told, not to focus on yourself, that's being selfish. And so we have the skewed view of what the priority should be. But without a doubt, the best versions of ourselves are always those versions where we've invested in everything, from, like you said, from the emotional well-being, from a physical well-being, mental well-being. And you have to experience that yourself. You have to get to that point to really see it clearly.
Yeah.
Because even like I consider myself a pretty smart guy. I could not see it clearly until I got there. But once I got there, I improved my relationship with my wife.
Right.
My marriage right now, I've been with my wife for 20 years, and we are better now than we have ever been.
Yeah.
My relationship with my kids is definitely at its very best. Again, and within the work atmosphere, my performance is at a level that I got my promotion, and I'm continuing to rise within the company that I'm in. None of that would have happened. I guarantee you, none of that would have happened if I would have stayed status quo.
Yeah,
If I would have just stayed with that, well, I'm doing the best I can, and I'm just going to put this off to the side, and I'm getting too old to really jump back into this thing, and all those excuses,
right.
I wouldn't have found what I found. So I feel very blessed. I feel very fortunate that I found this at the age that I'm at. And every day, I'm so thankful for what has been given to me, that I feel it's my responsibility to continue the path.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's why I come to the gym religiously. That's, even after knee surgery, I was a week after my knee surgery in December going, I got to get back in the gym.
Yeah. I know. I had Gretchen calling me going, don't you let him do it. Don't you let Yeah, no, and I and second, like I wanted to bring up another point you brought up because I think that this is kind of a big, I don't want to say maybe an excuse, but like a stall for a lot of people is you said, once you got going, right, like the feelings became addictive in terms of like feeling better about yourself, and you built that momentum and you saw those successes. And I think that like what often people like wait for, right, is like they wait to be motivated, right? They're like, oh, I'm not motivated to go work out today. And one thing that I've really kind of like, hitched my trailer on lately is like, you're not gonna be motivated, right? Like motivation is a load of crap, to be honest with you, right? Like really it's about like taking those small steps, like walking into the gym and going, you know what, it's uncomfortable for me to be here right now, right? And I'm the big proponent of like, hey, I personally need to do a better job of stepping outside of my comfort zone as well. But like, hey, it's really uncomfortable for me to be here right now. But I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna go 3 days this week, and I'm gonna be sore, and I'm gonna hate my life for this week. But eventually, like if I stick with it long enough, like I'm gonna start to see success, and that's gonna be super addicting and go, I love how I'm feeling. I love what I'm looking like. I love, all of these different things, and I'm just going to keep going with it. Right. So it's like more about taking those small steps, and then the motivation is going to be about me continuing to feel all that stuff.
Totally. And again, that speaks to directly what you and I were talking about before we started recording, but that newer generation, they want that instant gratification, right? Even as old folks, we want that instant gratification so that we can, like you said, find this motivation. And life doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Every journey is a series of small steps. Every journey is a starting point, and all the steps to get to where you're going. And personally, I've been doing this now for a couple of years. I'm not at the end. I have some more goals, and ideas of where I want to go. And I really want to be shredded for the very first time in my life before I reach 55. I have a certain image that I'm going to try to hit by this summer. If I hit it, great. If I don't, it's okay.
Yeah.
But it's a continuation of this journey that and again, it's not the destination, and I think that's what a lot of people are stuck on, right?
Yeah.
They get stuck on this. I want to lose 20 pounds. Once I lose 20 pounds, I'll be happy. That's not true.
Yeah.
Right? What makes me happy is the journey along the way and the continued path as I'm going.
Yeah, for sure.
And when these people, some of these people I've seen, not necessarily a Prodigy, but people that have lost weight or they've lost it quick because they want that instant gratification. So they go and they lose 30 pounds in 60 days. They rebound and they gain it all back because, okay, I did what I said I was going to do, but they didn't change, those components of their life that led them down the bad path in the first place.
Yeah.
With a 60-day period of time, 60 days, you can't change your life in 60 days. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's unfortunate, but these journeys are long and winding, and there's ups and there's downs and there's peaks and there's valleys, but it's the journey that you should really truly enjoy, not just the final destination.
For sure. And I love that you say that, because I forget what book I read that in, and I read that years ago, but it was like how all of like the most successful people, whether it's professionally, athletically, whatever it may be, is they fall in love with the journey versus the overall outcome, right? Like let's use, Tom Brady as an example, right? Just because he won his 7th Super Bowl, right? He falls in love with the journey of, like going to training camp, and like he's totally revamped his diet and his training program over the years, and he's fallen in love with the journey of that. And I think that's ultimately kind of what paid off. And I think that those who are successful with their fitness are the same, right? They fall in love with the idea of, I'm just chiseling away, bit by bit at what, and ultimately, when I hit that 20-pound landmark, great, but I've still got more to go, because it's just part of the journey. It's not my final destination.
Absolutely. And it's the process. I love the process. And, it's cliche, but it's been said 1,000 times before. But, you get to the point of where instead of thinking I have to go to the gym, you start thinking I get to go to the gym.
Yeah.
I get to experience, this journey that makes me feel fantastic. Every day I work out, man, I feel good about myself. It gives me clarity of mind, and my stress levels go way down, because I work 12-hour days a lot, 6 days a week. And so that stress, those cortisol, levels are way high. So if I didn't have this component to my life, there's so many negative things that were part of my world that aren't part of my world anymore. But I don't know if you want me to talk about like stats as far as where I was, how much I weighed, and
no, I mean, this is really about you. If you want to throw out kind of the weight you lost, I mean, it's obviously whether you're watching this on YouTube or you're listening to it on the podcast, right? It's either an audio or a visual little postcard for our success as a gym, for sure. But yeah, no, it's ultimately up to you.
So when I started on January 1st of 2019, not January, February 1st of 2019, I weighed almost 270 pounds, so about 267.
Yeah.
So I dropped, I think it was like 30 pounds in the first 3 months.
Yeah.
It might have been pretty close. It might have been close to 6 months, but within the first year of going to Prodigy, it was almost exactly 1 year. As of February 1st of 2020, I had dropped down to 190 pounds from almost at 270. So it was almost a total of 80 pounds.
Yeah.
It was quite the transformation.
Yeah, for sure.
For the last year, I've been focusing more on just, hypertrophy, just muscle size, and just, again, trying to obtain a certain look that I'm chasing.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I'm getting better every month, going down that road. But,
nothing wrong with a little vanity, Tony. Nothing wrong with that.
Right now, about 210, and if I get back down to 200, that's really where I feel totally comfortable.
Yeah.
190, I feel too thin. I feel sucked up. But 200, between 200 and 210 that's a really nice sweet spot. I'm almost 6'2", so I think that's the right weight for me.
I gotcha. Yeah. No, absolutely. And I loved being a part of this journey, from day one. And I look forward to continued success along the way. So before we wrap this up, which like I said, I appreciate, I want to respect your time and whatnot. But before we wrap this up, I wanted to, because you have been such a huge success personally, as well as, things like that. But for somebody who is listening to this podcast, right, and they're watching the video and they're struggling, right? They're maybe where you're at, right? They're struggling to make themselves a priority. What's maybe 2 to 3 pieces of advice that you would give to them to say, hey, you know what, like, I've done it. Here's my advice. You can do it too.
Well, I think we've kind of covered that. Number one, the best investment you'll ever make is in yourself, especially if you have people that are counting on you. If you have people that are counting on you, you need to make sure that you put that investment in yourself. And there's that. Get rid of the concept of instant gratification. Get rid of that concept. Set your goal for a wider snapshot, longer distance.
Yeah.
And just when you tell yourself you're going to do something, just follow through and trust in the process. Trust in that process and trust in yourself. But at the end of the day, nothing comes from easy work, man. All good things come from working hard.
For
And
sure.
if you've lived any life, you know this is a true statement. So
For sure.
it's not easy, but the payoff is immeasurable. The
For
payoff
sure.
is immeasurable. Just every day you wake up and just tell yourself you're going to get it done and do what you got to do, and try your best not to give yourself excuses.
Absolutely.
When you don't feel good, go anyway. When you're tired, go anyway.
Absolutely.
When you're beat up and your muscles are aching, and like you said, you don't feel like being at the gym, go anyway. There won't be a single time, there won't be one single day you go to the gym during one of those crappy days that you go home thinking, I wish I would not have gone. I
Absolutely.
wish I would have stayed home. Not a single one of those times. Every single time you're going to tell yourself, boy, sure, I'm sure glad I went through that. I'm sure glad that I went anyway.
Right.
Every single time. So what does that tell you, right? Just do it. Just do it.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time, Tony, and I think that you've given everyone some awesome insights to think about. So we're gonna wrap up this episode of Prodigy's Simply Fit podcast. I am your host, Andrew Hamill with Prodigy Fitness, and I will see you guys all next week.